We're going to wait another couple of minutes to get started. We're waiting for a PowerPoint that is on its way. We will start momentarily. Feel free to continue your conversations.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Meridian, Idaho Parks and Recreation Commission meeting for Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. Can I have roll call, please?
Yes, thank you. Keith Bevan,
Present?
Jennifer Bobo,
Present.
Tom Gelsomino,
Present.
Joe Greer,
Present.
Ellie Hood, Mandy Roberts is absent, Terry Dennington,
Here.
John Nesmith is absent, Alan Helms.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adopt today's agenda?
Mr. President,
Commissioner Gelsomino,
I'd like to make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the agenda has been adopted. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 11th, 2023 regular meeting of the Parks and Rec Commission.
Mr. President,
Commissioner,
I'd like to make a motion to to approve the minutes from the October 11th, 2023 regular meeting.
we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor of approving the October 11th minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it's been approved. All right, first item on our agenda is announcements from the,
I think I'm up first, Shelley.
oh, no, yeah, next one. It's the, yes, I guess. Director Sitaway with some,
A couple of announcements in a
discussion of
row.
elections. Yeah, you're up first.
So really, these are a couple of reminders about next month's meeting, just so that everyone is aware. The December meeting typically includes the commission election for the new chair and vice chair. The existing vice chair, which is Mandy, gets an automatic nomination for chair. If anyone is interested in filling the role as the vice chair for next year, looking at you, Jennifer. No. Please maybe let Mandy or Keith know as the chair and current chair and vice chair. But we will be holding elections next month. Also next month, if it's okay if I move on to number 3, in December, we also like to establish our goals for the coming year. We've found over the years that it's much easier and better to have you react to a proposed list as opposed to a blank page. So we will be coming with a draft list of goals, and we would just ask you that if the current goals are all printed on every agenda that you have for the current year. We always start with those and subtract from, add to, modify based on what we know is happening. And so we would just ask that if any of you know of any changes that you would like to add, to please send them to me and or Rachel, and we will be compiling those. Of course, if it's never too late to make any changes at the meeting next month, but we will try and come with a draft, and then we will go through a voting process that many of you are familiar with, just to try and rank order those. So again, just wanting to get it on your agendas for next month. And I'll pause for any questions on either the elections process or the all commission goals for next month.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission?
Okay.
All right.
All I got.
We'll take care of that next month. All right. Next item on the agenda is the upcoming events with Shelley Houston.
Hello, commissioners. How are you? Welcome to our new commissioners. I'm Shelley Houston. I do marketing and some of the communications and some of the touchy-feely stuff for our department. And I've been here quite a long time. So I'm here if you ever need anything. And each month I come and kind of remind you what a few of the upcoming events and any highlights that I think you might want to know about. I can clearly see here I have some events that have already expired, like the early voting, and I can see I'm out of my chronological order. I don't know what I was doing when I was updating this. Anyhow, this is our busy time of year. But anyhow, one thing I would invite you to is this Saturday's Veterans Day ceremony at the Rock of Honor, which is a veterans monument located inside Kleiner Park. At 11 a.m., we'll have a brief, well, it's about 35 or 45-minute ceremony that's quite patriotic. The guest speaker is going to be a fellow that has literally been a guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Washington, D.C. So he's kind of got an interesting story to tell. And we'll also pay tribute to a man named John Burns, who passed away in the last year or two. And he's kind of the founder of the Rock of Honor and really was a catalyst to getting a veterans memorial built here in Meridian. So that's this Saturday at 11. I've remembered it's at 11 at 11. So you're free to join us for that if you're available. And we're really, I know you barely got the hairspray, combed out of your Halloween wigs, but Christmas is coming. We already have a full slate of Christmas events. We call it Christmas in Meridian. That's kind of the umbrella title of all of our cluster of Christmas events. But the Meridian Ornament Drop and Seek will be back again this year, as well as special shopping night in downtown Meridian, when the stores will stay open later and there will be food and beverage specials and little pop-up shops and some special entertainment and gimmicks. Santa's mailbox will go up outside Meridian City Hall beginning around Thanksgiving and continue until I think December 17th or 18th, where if little children put a letter to Santa in the mailbox, no postage stamp needed, we have volunteers that'll prepare a personalized reply in the mail. So that's a nice thing we do, and we get several thousand letters each year. And then it all kind of culminates in our big Christmas parade. We call it the Winter Lights Parade. It's a nighttime light up parade on December 1st, which is a Friday night. And it's immediately followed by the lighting of the giant Christmas tree in Generations Plaza. So the second flyer you see I have given you, it's a reminder that we will invite you and your immediate families if you'd like to ride on the float or whatever it is. We work on giving you a conveyance to go down the street. It'll be some sort of a float that will take care of all the details. You just need to bundle up warm and arrive in Story Park on time to board the float. The parade literally begins it steps off at about 6:50, but that's a busy time of night with rush hour. So we're asking you to be to the park if you want to do this at least by 6:30, if not sooner. And to keep warm, we'll open the pool, the Meridian pool offices, and you can hang out in there and stay toasty and until it's time to hop on the float. So I'll be emailing each of you saying, yes, no, maybe, you know, what are you thinking about riding the Christmas float? It's kind of a fun thing to do. That's all. We'll follow up then with the following Saturday with, not the very next day, but the next week, the next Saturday with the Children's Winterland Festival at the Boys and Girls Club Gym, which is a free event where kids can come and do Christmas themed games and arts and crafts and all that good thing. And looks like the symphony has their annual holiday orchestra. And then there's a community food drive on a Saturday or Sunday, December 10th that you might be interested in. That's it for now. We'll keep you posted and we'll get you more parade details. If you decide to ride in the parade, I'll let you know like where exactly you need to meet and what's your little float number. We try to put you near the front of the parade, but we'll see how that works. This year it's kind of cool. We're looking for red trucks that kind of mimic our vintage red truck. And our first few people that answered the call were kind of ordinary trucks from the 70s or 80s. Oh, but you know, we're happy. And then this cherry bomb of a red truck that looks just like this truck, a guy called and we're like, now you're talking. So we're going to have a fleet of these red trucks of various vintages lead the parade into town. So that'll be kind of special this year. Any questions, comments, suggestions? Nope. Okay, we're there for you. Again, welcome.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Oh,
yes, sir.
I'm actually going to ask for kind of a show of hands for those of you that know that you're going to be on the float this year. A little bit of backstory before I ask you to, so you can process that. And if you know you're coming with family members, you can hold up a number. Hey, I'm bringing my, wife and 5 kids or whatever. That would be me. But the part of what's going on is we're toying with the idea of combining the council and the commission together. Don't know yet if that's going to happen. We're going to be asking the council separately how many of them intend to be on that float. But our grand marshal this year is the Zamzos family, and they have a larger group that wants to be in the parade than our usual 2-person horse and buggy will carry. So we're thinking about letting them use one of the floats if we have 2 half-empty floats. And if we have 2 full floats, one that's full of council members and family and one that's full of parks commissioners and family, we will find plan C. But that first we want to test the waters for how many, know that you want to come, are coming. Joe, I'm figuring you're probably at the stage again this year like usual.
So, yes, but Mr. President, sorry. So my nephew is in the state playoffs right now for football in Washington. And if they make it to state, which of course I hope they do, the game is December 1st.
Oh boy.
It's okay. It's okay.
We'll see, which happens to be the parade, which I've never missed. So I don't really know how to feel about that.
I know. I don't know how I feel about that.
I'll keep that out there because of course I want them to win, but there are 4 games. So
are they going to stream that football game you can watch from here?
You can watch from the.
They do actually stream it, but he is also, defensive player of the year, and there are a bunch of important things. And he has signed a letter of intent to give ice. So
And Dom, you're usually there, but usually not on the float, but walking around as the Grinch. Is that still your plan? Yeah.
Stop eating.
So for the rest of you, if you plan to be on the float, would you raise your hand if you are pretty sure you're coming? 1, 2, 3. Okay. And any family members? I know Ellie, you've sometimes had parents and brother, and so probably some family.
Not sure.
Not sure. 1. Okay. So it sounds like there, at least from the commission side of things, there's some room for some council members if that works out from their end. We will wait to make the decision after we hear back. You're still welcome to join. You can change your mind.
Go ahead. I know we kind of sprung this on you, but this is, take this home and to remind you to have that chat.
Yeah. So this is helpful just for me to get a feel. Again, if you're coming, we would really like to have you at the float by 6:30. The parade starts moving at 6:50. And we will have the pool building open for you to step inside and stay warm at. And there's usually some hot chocolate or hot apple cider or something there. And then it's usually not far from there to where we jump on the float. So anyway, looking forward to another great parade, and thanks. I guess that's it on that one. Thanks.
Thank you, Shelley. Well, the next item is a group photo. Is that happening?
We probably will. And I know we're missing a couple of key members, but we're going to do it because the old photo doesn't make much sense anymore. So we'll just stand in this area.
Get to approve the vote? Guess not. This is not.
All right. We have a little change we need to make on the agenda that was approved. We're going to ask if we can, the presentation from Cherie Evelyn from the Meridian Main Street Market, if that could go first in our list tonight. So I need a motion to amend the agenda
Mr. President,
accordingly. Yes.
hi, that motion needs to explain the emergency circumstances for amending the agenda at the last minute under the statute. And
Pardon?
Sorry, she needs to
Okay,
be
Ms.
somewhere at
Evelyn
6:30.
Needs to be at another
Yeah.
obligation at 6:30, so she needs to go now. Is that
You're
acceptable?
not, yes, the motion just needs to state that.
Okay, so I would like a motion to amend the agenda to have the Meridian Main Street Market presentation by Sheree Evelyn moved first on the item of new business in order for Ms. Evelyn to attend another commitment at 6:30. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President,
Yes, Commissioner.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda for tonight for the stated purpose.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the agenda has been amended. Thank you. So, I'd like to invite Ms. Evelyn to the podium. Am I pronouncing that right? Evelyn, sorry.
It's all right. You got my first name right, so I'm good. So good evening, Mr. President and
Thank
the
you.
board members. So my name is Sheree Eveland. I run the Meridian Market. Actually, technically, as Garrett and I were talking, it's 2024 we're starting on now, so we're going to start working on that. So the second screen is some reviews of the market that you guys can see. We have a lot of people that really enjoy the market. Yeah. Love being part of it. So we'll look up stuff on Google so that you guys can see. We get a lot of really good reviews. The one that we get a lot of is no produce, trying to educate people. But we usually get the cold weather vegetables about May, and then produce usually starts fully educating people, but they still get a little irritated that we don't have. Vendors. Last year we had 120 vendors. We increased to 140. So that's what's on our roster. So they sign up. They might come every weekend. They might come once a month. We averaged about 45 vendors each weekend. Sometimes we had a little less. And there were quite a few weekends we actually had like 63 vendors. So we were stuffed full on Broadway and in the plaza. We average about 400 to 430 guests on site each weekend. So we do our best to count the foot traffic and we take an average. And it depends what's going on. You guys all know there's lots of things that happen in the Treasure Valley on the weekends, BSU games, reports, like that. But we actually averaged about 300 last year. Income last year, $145,000. This year, our vendors for our vendors who are all local small businesses, mom and pops, youth vendors, all of that they are bringing in that amount to their businesses, but we're also supporting local. So when they're down here, they're going to Deja Brew, they're going to Sunrise, they're shopping. Plans for 2024, we're looking at doing signage where Meridian and Main Street bisect, I think is what it's called, over there by that sculpture sign, so that they know that if they go down Main Street or they go down Meridian, they're going to intersect with the market here at City Hall. So we're going to look into getting some of those signs. We'll work with Garrett on placement, what we're allowed to do, city requirements, like that. We're looking at doing more advertising for Spotify, Hulu, YouTube. We have found that print doesn't work. Radios don't work. And if you do, you switch the station as soon as a commercial comes on. We haven't seen a whole lot of ROI. We are going to continue to grow our vendors and grow the varieties that we've got. And we're starting to look for sponsors for next year. So if anybody has a business that would be interested, things that we need from the city, not just Parks and Recs, but from the city itself. And they do a pretty good job. We need more social media posts. We need people liking and commenting to follow our Facebook and our Instagram pages. And that needs to be across like all of Meridian City, not just Parks and Recs. It should be across all city council. We love to have you guys stop by, take pictures, comment that you've been there and stopped by at the market, and same thing with the city council. You guys support us by handling the permits, allowing us to use City Hall and Broadway, but having share like our posts be actually, I think, everybody to see that the city's supporting the market, which you do on the back end of it, but I think being more physical. Like I said, it was a short and sweet. So if anybody has questions.
Thank you for that. And you guys, man, doubling your, I mean, the, what, vendors and whatever the amount of the dollars was, that, it's amazing. That's great for downtown downtown Meridian. Sorry about that.
Yeah, 381,000, we almost over double.
I know I run into people in my business that have, you know, that, go to farmers markets and Main Street market type things. And I always tell them to check out Meridian. And, yeah, so. Any questions, comments from the rest of the commission? Yes,
I have a question.
yes.
I just wanted, when you said you want to grow, I wanted to see how many more vendors can you actually accommodate?
Right now, about 65 is what we can do, but one thing that Garrett and I have talked about is potentially using the front parking lot to put more vendors there, because we can only go a certain direction on Broadway. Because we can't block off parking areas that are across from the apartment complex. So we've talked about possibly this next year, if we need them, using the front parking lot too, which would be a little difficult because some people, when they come here to shop, park there. So but that would give us at least 20 to 30 possibly.
Thank you.
Mr. President, just
Yes.
right here.
Oh,
Just a
Garrett.
quick comment. Shree's done a great job with juggling all around the road constructions and the road closures and everything down here. We have worked together, and honestly, she's very low maintenance, which I appreciate with stuff. She does a great job just working around things and overcoming the challenges. So thank you for being easy to work with and a pleasure to work with. So yeah.
Just got to work on.
Yes. Winter projects.
thank you. Any other questions? Commissioner? Oh, yeah, Commissioner Helms.
I don't think your microphone's on for some reason. Is it green
that's-
or red?
Okay,
There you go.
I'm sorry. I just have tended to, I was just going to give a compliment. I thought the Main Street Market is a fun place to go and see people and items, and I don't know, and then you have entertainment there too
Yes.
at times. So
We have
thank-
musicians. We have 2 different musicians. We're looking at if we can figure out logistics and power. Have one on one. So just trying to figure out the power and setup.
Cool.
It's a work in progress.
Awesome. Any other questions, comments? Awesome. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
guys.
Good luck. All right, next item on our agenda is a presentation from Ryan Bias on Meridian Youth Baseball.
Thank you for inviting me here to get to brag about the league a little bit. I'm actually a little embarrassed that I haven't been here before and introduced myself to you guys. This is actually my 3rd year of being the president of the league. So if you guys aren't aware of Meridian Youth Baseball and Softball, we are but not only that, we have a pretty rich history of success. I mean, producing pretty good, talented and softball. Yeah, there we go. Is that better? So I'm gonna use this as a little bit of a brag session because we had a really good year this year. So just go through our numbers. This was our biggest year to date since we've in existence. So you can see the numbers there: 71 teams in the spring for baseball, 30 in softball. we are averaging 5 to 7% growth each year. So those numbers should be continuing to go up. And then fall ball, we usually have around half of the number just because they go and play other sports and it gets cold. Baseball's not fun to play in the cold, but we got some people that want to brave it. We started this year a new league that's under the umbrella of Meridian Youth Baseball and Softball. And we called it the Select League. So it's essentially a year-round all-star team or all-star leagues. So we'll put them together in late January, early February, and they start practicing then. And they compete against the other leagues' select teams or their year-round all-star teams. And so this was kind of a brainchild I had a few years ago, and it's taken a while for it to get some legs under it. But we were able to get all the surrounding leagues and kind of unify us together. And each of the surrounding leagues, Nampa, Cuna, East Boise, North Boise, Caldwell, Eagle. We got a couple of the club teams that are here in Meridian to also participate in this. So we had our regular season of those 71 and 30 teams that I had referenced earlier. These teams competed separately, hosted all at Settlers Park, and super cool. The talented kids the really, really talented kids now had a place to display their talents and to play against like competition. So we're super proud of that. And the whole goal of it is to increase the level of play, but also for Meridian is continue to send teams to the World Series and prepare them for that. So these are our select and all-star numbers. So the difference is select is put together in January. Our all-stars are put in the middle of the rec season, usually around May. And then they start practicing. We compete in multiple tournaments. We actually host 2 tournaments at Settlers Park, Keith Bird and Dairy Days, which are the 2 biggest tournaments in the state of Idaho. And then, so ultimately we're trying to get to state. You play state. If you win it, you get to go on to regionals. If you win that, then you get to go to the World Series and represent Idaho and the Pacific Northwest. So right here are our numbers. Our 8U had 1 team. They won state. Our 9Us had 2 teams. They got to the championship game, just fell short. Our 10U, which I'm going to brag a little bit, I coached one of those teams. We had 2 teams, and this is the picture of them right there. What was cool is both Meridian teams made it to the finals in state and played each other. My team actually had a bid to go to the World Series because we won the year previously. And then our other team went to regionals and did really well. They didn't end up winning it, but they represented well. We had 2 11U teams. Our 12U team was the runner-up to state. They were in the finals against Idaho Twin Falls and came up a little short, but that team as 12-year-olds already had an automatic bid to Worlds. So our 12U got to go to regionals and represent us there and did pretty well. And then we had a 13-15 team that did pretty good. Championship ring there. I thought that was cool. This is our team down in Twin Falls was where it was held this year. And then our softball girls had 1 8U team, our 10U, they had 2 and they won state and regional tournament, qualified for Worlds. Our 12U won state and regional, also qualified for Worlds. So like I said in the beginning, we have a pretty rich history of success in Meridian Youth Baseball and Softball. So it's cool to see, and we're trying to continue that process. Some more pictures of the girls. Okay, so this is something that we started 2 years ago, pitch, hit, and run. So it's an event ran by Major League Baseball, and it's a skills competition that rates your pitching, your hitting, and running, and it's given a score point value, and the kids that scored the most points win. So we had we hosted it at Settlers Park, and we had so much participation from the city, and also other leagues came to participate, that our event qualified to be a regional qualifier. So because of the numbers, whoever won in their different age groups got to go to Seattle to the Mariners Stadium and compete against the other regional winners. So we sent 4 kids from Meridian to Seattle, and they competed. And then we had one young lady that actually won it. And so by winning it, you get to go to the World Series. So they flew them out. And then they had all of the regional winners competed there, and she did really well. Didn't win it, but did really well. And so that's her family there at the World Series. We're super proud of her about that. Now this one is something that I got to participate in, so I was pretty happy. So the World Series, our 10U went to Crown Point, Indiana, and competed against 25 teams from all around the world. We actually got to play, the only international team that we got to play was Australia, and we beat them up pretty good and sent them back to Australia. So we're happy about that. So really talented 10-year-olds here. Just have some pictures that I'm going to click through. Awesome facilities out there. They were all turf fields. We had some weather, and you could still play there, and it wouldn't get all muddy. It was pretty cool. Each one of the kids, the Cal Ripken Babe Ruth organization made a banner for them, so you can see it on the bottom left there. Each one of the kids had like an action shot, and they were lined against the fence all around the park. And so there was thousands of these signs, and as the teams got eliminated, they would take their signs down. So our team actually made it to the championship game in the Ironman bracket, and we lost that game. It went 1-1 through 5 1/3 innings. So you play 6 innings. So we made it there. We had to make a pitch and change, and ended up giving a few runs that cost us the game. Super cool experience. So we were close by Chicago. So we took the kids to a Chicago Cubs game, and they won, which doesn't always happen. Just some more pictures. So this young man, I'll have some more pictures of him, but it's a really cool action shot. He was our bunting machine and won us several games because of the bunts that he would lay down. We'll just click through. You can see kind of how they played. Oh, I'll go back to that one because this one's hilarious. So players of the game. Our player's in green, and Pennsylvania's player is the one standing next to him. That kid's 10. He was 6'2", 210. Literally, you fill out a lineup card before the game. So I walked over, and that kid was down stretching, and I said, "Here you go, coach," to give him my lineup card. And he stood up and smiled at me, and I was like, "You are bigger than me, and you're 10." Come to find out, his last name is Butkus, and his grandpa was sitting in the stands, Dick Butkus. So
Wow.
he actually won the game. That was the championship game that we lost to him. He hit a triple to score a bunch of runs. We got to go to Lake Michigan. I mean, super cool experience for all the boys. We were there for 14 days. Got to compete. So this is that young man I referenced earlier. So his name's Lucas Martin. He was awarded the best third baseman at Worlds. So 9 kids were picked throughout the tournament, and he was given this bat as an award, and then a bunch of other medals and stuff. His mom coaches over at Hawaii softball. She's the varsity coach, but super talented young man and represented Idaho well. So there was our final record at Worlds. Yeah, just cool experience. We're hoping that we can send teams every year to experience that. So projects we have going on right now at Settlers. We'll switch gears from that. We're replacing the dugout nets with chain link rubber. It's the rubberized coated, and it's getting installed this week or next week. They're going to start putting it in. We had met with Mike and Garrett last week and talked about putting shades over the top of concessions. So that's something that we're trying to add on to the building to just make it function a little bit better for us. We are installing as soon as the ground unfreezes again. We will put in new base posts and bases all throughout the fields. We got new tarps made for all the fields at Settlers Park, and we're going to be putting some company names on it. We're installing these panels into the fields to help the batters and pitchers to not dig big old holes and try and help maintain the fields, and it will require less work to maintain them. One thing that we're super excited about is Meridian Middle School has allowed us to use their 2 softball fields that have fallen in disrepair. And so we are working on cleaning the infield dirt. It's full of goat heads, like millions of them. So we're scraping and replacing and trying to get rid of that and making it a place that the community will be able to use to practice and play games. We're going to redo the padding at Fuller and Settlers Park on the backstops. And then we were able to get new batting helmets and catcher's gear for all the teams. We will be hosting all of the divisions in state this year, which will be the week after the 4th of July at the 11th through the 14th. And then we are hosting 2 regional tournaments. So for our 9-year-olds and our 12-year-olds, the cool thing about hosting a regional tournament is our teams get an automatic invite. And that's the one, if they win that tournament, they get to go to Worlds. So by us hosting those 2 at Settlers Park, we're giving those 2 teams the opportunity of winning one tournament, and they get to go represent us on the world stage, which is pretty cool. So sorry, I'm sure I took more time than I should have, but I like bragging about the league. Any questions?
Thank you for that great presentation. And I know, is it Ty Cobb or said it ain't bragging if you really done it?
Yeah.
Somebody like that, that's amazing that, that much success from Meridian, and it's because you're running a great program. So, appreciate all you do. Any other questions, comments?
Mr. President?
Yep.
So my nephew, who is a senior now, and they live in Kennewick, but they've been down for a couple other tournaments. Actually, I think every year, usually come stay with me, but you guys do host a nice tournament and everyone's treated well. And I saw that you guys are fixing the scoreboards. That's always an area of contention, but I was always proud, right, that my family came down to play in the parks.
And to go off of that, Kennewick they have really nice facilities and they send really good teams down, and they're always complimentary of Settlers Park. If you guys aren't aware, Settlers Park is the premier place in Idaho to play baseball. The facilities are phenomenal. And you guys, so. Cool.
Mr. President?
Bobo.
I likewise have heard amazing things about the tournaments and how good it is, but not only just the tournaments for the kids, but the community, because all those people come in with their families and they stay in hotels and they eat and they shop and they do a lot for the economy of the area. Good job.
Remind me, how many teams? So spring was 70
and
baseball and
30.
30. So that's,
we were at
about 15 kids a team, or 10?
Yeah, so we were right around 1,300 kids in the spring. All in all, I think we were over 1,800 kids that participated throughout the year.
So how many games? I mean, is it Monday through Friday or
Monday
Saturday, all day Saturday?
With the select league, we even did Sundays. So, I mean, each team is playing 10 to 12 games plus an end of season tournament. Too many games to count. We have so much fees and umpires. It's crazy.
It's awesome. The other?
Chairman?
Yes,
Oh, go ahead.
I'd like to make comment.
Terry Dennington.
Yeah, thank you. It was a great presentation. I was raised watching baseball, so I love baseball. It's great to watch it. I wanted to know the ages of the youngest to the oldest in your program.
Yeah, so 5 years old was when they start. and they play all the way up till 15, which Babe Ruth organization, who we're chartered under, has just extended that to 16-year-olds now. So starting this year, so we will have 5 to 16-year-olds participating in the league.
Perfect. That's going to be quite a team.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
So is it 5-year-old T-ball?
Yep.
And then does it go like coach pitch?
Yep.
Thing here? Because
Coach pitch, and then we'll do a hybrid of the kids starting to pitch, and then when they walk a bunch of kids, then we have the coach come out and do it, and then
Okay.
kids start pitching at 8.
at 8. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's been a while since I had kids play Little League. Same as back then, yes.
Baseball hasn't.
Awesome, man. So again, when we talk about this all the time in Meridian Parks and Rec, it seems like everything having to do with Meridian Parks and recreation and activities, Meridian is just an awesome place. People are committed and care, and both, the people that work for Parks Department here are awesome, but the community that does stuff, we're just, so thank you. Because you guys are who make it work and make it successful. So thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
So Ryan, you already just touched kind of on this, but I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the recreational league side of things, because you talked mainly tonight about your elite group for good reason. I mean, it's pretty impressive, but one of the things I've been most appreciative about is what you offer to those non-elite kids, and that there is a place, as we'll also hear from Pal, but my kids participated in both organizations, and they weren't the elite kids. They never did go to the World Series, but they still had a place, at least through those early years, before it got super competitive. But maybe you could just say a few more words, if you would, about the recreational side of your program.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually came up with a new motto, a mission statement, and included in our mission statement is that we are allowing a place for every skill level to participate. And we're trying to provide some sort of avenue for them to participate in the game of baseball or softball. And really the bread and butter, we don't have those elite teams. They're not able to do anything if we don't have those rec kids participating and getting going at those ages and building up. But that being said, we have amazing coaches that volunteer to step up and teach these boys. And those rec kids could compete with these other leagues. I guarantee you the kids that are in the rec season that are winning their championship games, they could hang with the Cunas and Nampas and East Boise's and probably win. And so there's not a huge disparity in the top talent and the kids that are competing in the rec season. We've got really good coaches, really good people that are stepping up and volunteering and helping to teach the kids. Well, ultimately, I know we're not sending kids to the major leagues. I mean, that's not the point of the league. That's not the point of the All-Stars or rec or anything. What it is teaching them life lessons. Baseball, especially compared to other sports, it's a sport built on failure. I mean, they say it all the time. If you hit the ball 3 out of 10 times in the major leagues, you're going through the Hall of Fame. And so these kids get up there, and you're having to teach them at 8 and 9 years old that they aren't going to be perfect, that they aren't going to succeed at everything. And as they grow older, of learning to control the controllables, you're going to strike out. You're going to miss the ball occasionally. You're going to make mistakes, but you control your emotion. You control what's going on in your head, and you get ready for the next thing. And the life lessons that you get out of this game are incredible and are going to set these kids up for success later on down the road for sure.
That's awesome. Thank you. Anything else?
Mr. President, I would just say one thing, that I just wanted to let Ryan know that it's very much appreciated. The communication over the past 18 months to 2 years has been phenomenal. I call Ryan, he answers, I send him a text, he responds. I mean, it's the communication between the city and MYB has always been okay, right? But over the last couple of years, it's really picked up, and it's really been a good situation to where we communicate a lot better. Not only the communications only helped with our stuff and projects and things, but also with the neighboring community above them, Cedar Springs, that neighborhood. There were some parking issues, this and that, and NYB's really stepped up and put an effort into trying to get people not to park in the subdivisions, right? So with Ryan and his board and those putting out signs, updating their websites, sending out emails, including Cedar Springs staff now or people now, shows Cedar Springs that they are putting an effort towards not getting people to park in front of their neighbor mailboxes, in front of their yards and stuff, and really asking people to be over here. In doing that, the communication also is now we know when all their tournaments are, all their big events are, to where now we have a master calendar on our public drive to where the police department knows when they're having events. They can schedule stuff. PD can schedule stuff weeks in advance, or they're staffing weeks in advance, so that they know they need to either enforce it more or patrol it more, those types of things. So the communication has led to a lot of good things. So kudos to Ryan in particular. That's who I communicate with. But I went to their board meeting last Sunday, and they're all welcoming. We're all on the same team, and we can only get better from here on out. So thanks, Ryan, for doing that.
Thank you. And we're keeping the gum off the dugouts.
That's between us. Thank you. All right, thanks for that great presentation. All right, next on our item is presentation for the Meridian Police Activities League with Brian. Okay, is it Simer? Okay. Thanks.
Vowel followed by a consonant, followed by another vowel. The first vowel is long.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Thank you. Well, thank you for inviting me here. And I want to apologize to MYB. We're the ones that put the gum in the dugout. So I apologize for that. And since Ryan is still here, I just want to say that we've heard nothing but good things about their select program. I have friends over in East Boise that participate, and they love it. So congratulations. That's a great program. And we've also sponsored a couple of your teams going back to World Series. So that's awesome. So thank you for having me here this evening. I'm Brian Simer. I'm the executive director of PAL. I've been with PAL since 2004. But the Police Activities League was founded in 1996. We currently have 4,000 players register, and we offer options for spring and fall, and for some sports, both for our families. We are a rec league. We let MYB and other organizations, we let them do the elite programs, and we are a rec league. We've learned that when we color outside the lines, we don't do as well as we should. So we do what we do best, which is a rec league, and we are very good at it. We have a baseball program that plays at Heritage Middle School 2 nights during the week and on Saturday. We have our flag football program at Settlers. So we know the pain of parking over there, Ryan, at Settlers Park, and the issues there. And we have soccer at Heroes Park. I'm sorry?
What?
When you register, you give us permission to use your likeness and a reasonable facsimile thereof. Where did that be? We need to update our pictures, I guess, right? And so that's too funny. So Heroes Park was our first partnership with with Park and Rec. I'm not sure if you can see there, but you can see the soccer fields lined up out there. There's 17 fields there. And then over on the right-hand side, you can see the photographs. And we were also instrumental in building the concession stands and the basketball hoops. And there's a kind of a long shot. I really like this shot because it just shows how big the field really is, but also shows really how well Park and Rec maintains this property. And, we have no issues out there. We share our concerns with them, and they're on them right away. And in fact, they even come to us sometimes and say, hey, we've got an issue out there and we need to take care of it. So we appreciate the work out there. I don't know if any of you have seen Ted Lasso. Has anyone seen? Well, for some reason, all of a sudden, it's now European football. I even have our own committee members saying football pitch out there. Now, I'm old. I'm American, so I still call it a soccer field. But whatever you call it, it's a great facility, and we really appreciate Park and Rec. A couple of our last projects, we just expanded the parking lot at Heroes. We added over 80 parking spots. And the reason we did it, there's a few reasons. One is we wanted to reduce the parking issues at Loxa Falls. We'll talk a little bit more about Loxa Falls in a moment. Also an attempt to reduce the number of parents parking in the church parking lot on the west side of 10 Mile and running across 5 lanes of traffic, as well as, you may not believe this, but parents actually pull up on 10 Mile, let their kids out, run across 5 lanes of traffic. So we thought we needed to increase the parking there in order to keep people safe. And that's just another side note for MYB, the additional parking that they have on the school district property. We actually contributed $20,000 to that project to help with the neighborhood. So our next project there, and this was just last year, is we finished paving in the bullpen area just off of 10 Mile. It was just full of rocks before, and we had a hard time getting goals in and out, trailers in and out. And so we thought it would not only be more practical to pave it, but it would also look much better and easier to get things in and out of. So, so I think our total input to Heroes is between 1.2 and $1.3 million. We just submitted a grant proposal to Park and Rec to build another park on the northwest side of Meridian. We know that's future plans. We know that's down the road, but we want Park and Rec to know that we're ready when they're ready, that we have the infrastructure in place, we have the financing available to do that. And so, like I say, when they're ready, we'll be ready. So Loxa Falls, our friends at Loxa Falls. As you can see in this picture, the subdivision is highlighted, and then that little spur off to the left, off to the west, is what butts up against Heroes Park. And if you look a little bit further over, you can see the church. That's actually the church that people were parking in, running across. And then when I first looked at this picture, I noticed that Keith Bird Legacy Park was there. So I just want to say that, Keith Bird was a really good friend to Pal. When we started, Keith was very supportive, helped us through our growing pains, helped us with our project at Heroes Park, and he was just a great friend to us. So I just wanted to point that out tonight, maybe get it on the record. So the area right along, I don't know what the street name that is, I apologize, but it's right at the edge of the subdivision and up against the park. We have issues over there with parking as well. And, there's always back and forth, it's not soccer people. No, it's the residents, and we go back and forth. So I've started going out there. I've been just parking and watching. And this picture ought to tell you maybe what's going on out there. So I watched this car park, and I sat there, and they went into the park, and about 20 minutes later, decided to drive by, and there's the car parked under the no parking sign, blocking the driveway. And so that's what we have to work on to fix. So, so how do we do that? Well, first we send out emails each week to our parents, reminding them to be nice and play nice. We also let them know that these are the ordinances. So we send them ordinances showing them, no parking in front of mailboxes, don't block driveways, don't park within 15 feet of the corner. I have a weekly phone meeting with the HOA president. Every Tuesday at 9 a.m. we have a conversation about what happened the previous week. And we try to mitigate whatever issues there are. And we will, from time to time, communicate with residents. If there's something egregious going on, we'll address it directly with them. And that seems to be working out. I think at least they know that we care about what's going on out there, and that we we're not in the business, and I'm sure MYB is not in the business of upsetting people. You know, we want to provide a good league and we want it to be fun for everybody, including our neighbors. And next week, the board meets, and I'm going to propose a budget amendment to contract for off-duty police officers with the police department. So a couple days during the season next year that they can just be out there, be dedicated to the Loxa Falls area, so they can keep an eye on people speeding, keep an eye on people illegally parking out there, and do that just for a couple of reasons. One simply is just so the community knows and the residents know that we care. And also to let our parents know, you guys just don't get to do whatever you want. We're taking it seriously, and you're going to have to obey traffic laws. So I just wanted to highlight some of our partners in the community. Some of these are past and present. We've participated in Leadership First through a grant through the Mayor's Anti-Drug Coalition. Leadership First is an acronym for loyalty, education, accountability, discipline, empowerment, respect, service, honesty, integrity, and perseverance. And then we also work with the Positive Coaching Alliance through the Idaho Youth Sports Commission, and they help us with the Game Changer Coach Award. That award is for coaches who have a great impact on their teams and their players. We've also worked with them in a program called Sneakers for Kids. So for kids who can't afford new sneakers, we identify who those may be and help them with new sneakers. We also help them with financial support. So any events they have going on, banquets, so forth and so on, we provide some financial support for them. We've also done coats for kids through the Knights of Columbus. In fact, we did a coat drive just right down the hall not too long ago. Most of our drives, to be honest, are out in Canyon County because that's the demographic that needs them the most. And so, but we've given away hundreds, if not thousands of coats. Just on October 25th, we had an event with the mayor, and we announced the Daryl Eastburn Memorial Financial Aid Plan. Daryl served as a coach, committee member, board member for 15 years, and he recently passed away. And so we decided that we wanted to honor him in one way. So we've introduced this fund to assist those in our community with fiscal support, so every child who wishes to participate in PAL may do so without financial strain. And then also announced at that meeting is the Meridian Police Activities League Secondary Education Scholarship Fund. Secondary education degree is not free. I think we all know that. But while that education has never been more important, it has also never been more expensive. Students are paying more than 40% more for in-state public university degrees than students just 10 years ago. So this sustained growth in cost means more and more students have a gap between what they can pay and what they must pay. So when students can use private scholarships to fill financial aid gaps, it means fewer hours in part-time jobs or full-time jobs, more time to devote to academics and activities, and less crippling loan debt after they earn their degree. So Meridian PAL is proud to announce the Secondary Education Fund. We will budget $2,500 per fiscal year to help cover the cost of a college scholarship for one student each year. As with anything, rules and restrictions will apply. And then this website, almost up, not quite there, www.meridianpalscholarship.org for further details. And on that website, you'll be able to submit your application, your essay, transcripts, letters of recommendation, and you'll be able to do that online. And just simply how it'll work, it'll be reviewed to make sure it's complete. It'll be scrubbed of names and gender and given an internal tracking number, sent to an independent three-panel panel for judging. That panel will not be known to any of the board members or any other PAL member other than me. And the panel will be unknown to each other. So we do this to ensure that there's no outside influence or pressure put on any judge. And then after the recipient is chosen, the scholarship fund is sent directly to the institution. So this is just another way for our organization to give back to the community and to the constituents who've made our organization what it is today. So with that, any questions or concerns?
Thank you for that great presentation and all that you do. Again, you know, just as, like I said, our community is awesome, and the number of kids that you guys support is amazing, and the amount of the financial contribution to basically the city, right? And the programs and the youth is also amazing. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, and you know, Park and Rec deserves a lot of credit too. I mean, they're a good partner to work with. And so we've always appreciated them. I know I went on the parks tour, you know, a couple months ago, whenever it was. Jeez. And you know, I know that Steve does it because he wants the community to gain a deeper appreciation of Park and Rec. But I've told them this many times, is that, you know, we don't need a park tour to appreciate Park and Rec. We see every day the work that they do and how much they assist us. I mean, we wouldn't be able to exist without Park and Rec. So, you know, I thank all of you as well, because it takes both of us to get these things done.
Yeah. So I live in Loxo Falls.
Okay.
I live over closer to Linder, so the parking doesn't, the only time it affects.
We'll send them
me is
your
if
way
we're-
then.
if We're cutting through to go to Costco or Walmart.
Yeah.
So I cut through and then through Silver Spring there where the light is by, you know, and yeah, there's sometimes on Saturdays that you can tell, I mean, there's cars parked on those residential streets there on the north side of Park, and then the houses there,
Yeah.
whatever road that is, that goes over to Linder where the light is. And I still think to myself, these people shouldn't be parking here. I mean, there's more cars than normal, and it's like some of the parents, you know.
Yeah.
So adding the parking spots certainly helped a lot, because 3, 4, 5 years ago, whenever it would be really bad, you know.
Yeah, it's
So
just,
that helped a lot, and
it's a battle.
Yeah.
We just want to make our parents aware, not necessarily, because they're not all parking illegally. I mean, they are parking legally, and you know, you can park in front of somebody's house, but let's not block their driveway or their
Exactly.
mailbox, or be rude and confrontational about it if a neighbor comes out and talks to you. You know, it's funny, because I think I said this to Mike once, that I had one email from a parent or a resident saying, "What gives you the right to put a no parking sign in front of my house?" The very next email I got was, "How come you don't put a no parking sign in front of my house?" So sometimes we can't win for losing. So it's a delicate balancing act, because there's legal, there's illegal, there's what's within our scope and our ability to do anything about it. But the perception had been in the past that we didn't care, and I don't think that's true. So we're just trying to make an extra effort to make sure that the residents know we do care about their concerns. Again, I said, we're not in the business to upset people. We want everybody, including the residents of the subdivisions, our parents, and anyone who comes out to the parks, to have a good time, enjoy themselves.
Awesome. Any questions, comments?
Mr. President.
Yeah, Commissioner
Um,
Greer.
So years ago, I was my son's flag football coach, and we actually tried to practice on those fields, and yeah, that didn't go very well. Except for one of them you can't reserve. But I was just wondering if you have more places for other teams because soccer is kind of the main focus, of course, at that park, because it is the soccer park. But where do you have other teams go?
Yeah, well, first, I don't know if soccer is our main focus. It's just our largest program. And, you know, and it does subsidize the other programs as well. But we certainly spend a lot of time on football and baseball. So, well, the reason Heroes Park is utilized so much is because we have the priority arrangement there, because we've contributed to the development of the park. For flag football, it's a little different because a lot of these coaches, they live throughout the city. Most of those subdivisions have their own little park. So in most cases, they're practicing in their own backyard. Heroes is a little bit different because we have the goals and everything set up. So coaches don't have their own goals just to go play wherever they want to play. Flag football is a little easier. You just need some cones and you throw them out on any grass, you know, patch of grass anywhere. And then you can go ahead and practice. And baseball basically does the same thing. So we let the coaches decide where they want to practice, because they also have a balancing act with parents. You know, you might have someone who practices one block further than the other team does, And then the parents like, we want to change teams because we can practice a block, closer. So we let them decide because, at the end of the day, they'll know what's best for their players and their parents. If it becomes an issue, we step in and we try to make recommendations. But for the most part, they're able to handle it. We don't get too many complaints about practice facilities. Plus, all the new subdivisions that have gone in, they have some really nice, playground and park area in there.
Mr. President,
Yes.
just maybe to follow up on Brian's there. So Skylar does this now, but it used to be part of my responsibility is to reserve all of our park space. So over the past couple of years, we've really tried to figure out a way that's a balanced approach for reservations as well as just first come use in our green spaces, right? To your point, where do I practice? How do I find some green space? So at Settlers in particular, I say number our fields. We letter our fields A, B, C, D, and E, and F. Half of them are first come, first serve. We'll just leave open. The other half we will reserve to groups like PAL here and there for their games and those types of things, or lacrosse or whatever it may be. But the other half is wide open. And we try to do the same thing throughout our whole park system. Some of our neighborhood parks like Renaissance or Seasons and stuff, we won't even reserve Monday through Thursday. Just leave them first come, first serve, just for coaches like yourself that just need some green space to go out, and coaches typically share it because it's non-reservable, right? So we try to find that balance. And over the past couple of years, we have really I think we found a better balance of that. So I always tell coaches when they called me or they call Skylar, like, hey, we can tell you what's available and exactly where at now and those types of things. And we've been getting better at posting those things on our websites as well. Like our park map, hey, A, B, C, D, and E are wide open tonight, or those types of things. So we're getting better at it too, but there is some more resources out there now for that. So hope that answers.
This was before you.
Okay.
Before you were in
Okay.
charge. But
Right on.
I was given a recommendation because Heroes did have a space that was a first come, first serve. So we started practicing there, even though we had the soccer moms were not pleased with us. But
Well, again, the difference between soccer and the others are we have that priority use agreement at Heroes. So we automatically have places to practice. But, as I mentioned early in my report, that we had put in a grant proposal to build a new park because we would like to find something a little bit more permanent for football and for baseball. But we know that's down the road, and we're perfectly fine with that. We just want you, and we want Steve and Mike to know that, we've discussed it. We're all in, we're ready to go when you guys are ready to go.
Cool. All right. Yes.
Yes,
Bennington.
great presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm new to the commission, so I wanted to know the website address that I could just kind of go on and look because I'm not familiar with this.
Sure. The website's www.meridianpal.org.
Thank you.
Sure.
That's a question. I was just curious at Heroes Park there, how many parking spots are there?
Well, I know we just added over 80. Steve, how many parking spots are over at Heroes?
You could have made it up probably.
I don't know off the top of my head, but we can find out and let you know. But it's probably a few hundred.
I've been there before. I can't remember it being packed like there where people are driving, but I haven't been there during an event like that. So I
Yeah.
was just kind of curious.
I think, this reminds me of a meeting I had with Mayor Tammy about parking over by my office. And, she had made the comment that you could go to the village and park way out in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't inconvenience you because you can see the village. But if you're parked just as close to something else, but there's other buildings in your way, you feel inconvenienced. And it's the same thing with our parents. If the parking spot on the street is closer to their field, you could have all 200 parking spots available in the parking lot. That's where they're going to park.
Yep.
It's just human nature.
Questions, comments, Commission? All right.
All right.
Again, thank you for all.
Thank
the
you all.
work
Thanks for
do.
the invitation.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, next item on the agenda is the Meridian pool update with Garrett. I know, you're gonna have to, you better bring it.
These guys. Thank you for having me tonight. I was in front of you guys back as far back as June, which feels like a year ago, but June to kind of give you an update on what we were going to do. So now I'm going to give you an update on what we did. So with that, these are some fresh new pictures for you from Shelley. But just wanted to start off with some of our accomplishments this year. Our goal was about 65 lifeguards, and we got 65 lifeguards. We're expanding our goal next year, and we want 65 lifeguards that want to work over 15 hours a week. So we're going to try to get guards. Next year, you'll see my thing here. We want some guards that work 25 plus hours a week, and then we can really stay open longer. But we opened as scheduled June 5th, which is an accomplishment with all the things that were supposed to be done prior to that. We successfully hosted 5 two-week swim lesson sessions. We had over 2,000 kids registered in swim lessons. That alone, if you guys ever go by the Meridian pool in the mornings between 9:30, 10, when all the swim lessons are going on, it is crazy. I mean, there's so many kids in the water. The pool is full. I don't know how Willow stays sane through the whole summer, but she does somehow, some way. Because we had all those guards, we were able to open up some weekend hours, which is a goal of ours from the get-go from the previous year. Our pool capacity was 250. I think I told you guys last June, like the pool capacity is a mathematical equation, and I'm a rec guy, so I don't do math a whole lot, but it's pretty in depth, but I got it figured out to our pool capacity realistically is about 265 people, give or take, based on amenities and square footage of water and deck space and all that kind of stuff. But we hit our 250, 265 mark 5+ times. I asked Willow how many times. She goes, I want to say 10, 12, but it was a blur. So we hit our capacity, which is a good thing. It means the pool is being used and it's popular in those public swim times. We are an Ellis certified facility, which there's 3 different certifications you can have: American Red Cross, YMCA, and Ellis. And we are Ellis, along with Roaring Springs. So they give us an audit once a year, sometimes twice a year, and we pass that successfully with 100%. So that again is kudos to Willow for doing that. And it's a surprise audit. We don't know. They kind of go in incognito and pay their fee and just come and hang out and watch and observe. So we don't know who they are. And then they show up with a paper at the end and say, hey, you guys passed. So it's kind of a cool deal. So we passed with that. The 1 meter dive was installed the day before we opened. I came that Sunday night just to see where we're at, because the contractor was not answering the phone. And I show up and literally he was putting his stuff in the car, getting ready to call me back because he wanted to get that project done. So it was opened or completed literally about 10 hours prior to opening. So it was good and under budget. So we're good. Learned that one from Mike. We had to replace the fabric on the umbrellas. The year before, right towards the end of the season, 2 of the umbrellas lifted up and crashed, and we had some repairs to be doing there. So we got that done. All the fabrics replaced. Looks good. They all match, which is a good thing as well. So did all that. The pool rim, we painted it. That was a project we wanted to get done. It just kind of makes it look like a quality facility. It was chipped and looked like it was 6 different colors over the past couple of years. So it's all one color now. So that was a good thing. And the swim test we established last year, like I said before, we went from like 60 jump ins, they call them triple whistles, down to like 6. So we streamlined a little bit this year, got a little bit more efficient at it, got kids in and out quicker, and still had some of the same results. Way less jump ins and saves than previous year. So the swim test is still working, and we actually got an AIC award for implementing the swim test at the Meridian pool. And this is something that a lot of other facilities do. We just had never done at the Meridian pool. So it was a success. Every day, Monday through Friday, there was either a summer camp there of 50 or 60 kids, boys and girls club of 30 or 40 kids, or daycares every day that use that facility. So it was a great thing to see. That makes it super busy, and they all show up on one time. So making that swim test efficient was a big success too, just getting the kids in there so they're not waiting in line before they can jump in the pool and swim. So that was a good thing. We have 4 different swim teams use the pool: the Killer Whales, the Streamliners, Meridian High, and Hawaii did all that. And then, as you guys probably had saw before, the Meridian mural was installed. And I think I talked about that previously. And that's nothing really to do with us. That's Cassandra and the Arts and Culture Coordinator, and she has phenomenal stuff too. But this is pool. But this is all accomplishments that Willow has done. And so I got to give Willow a bunch of kudos for that. Operational needs for 2024. We said 60, 65 guards plus that can work or want to work, I should have said, 25 plus hours. Having the majority only want to work 12, 15 really does, it works, but it doesn't work. We need more if they're only going to work that much, right? But we want some of those kids that want to work 25 plus hours. There was a handful last year that would work 40. But literally the majority wanted 12 to 15. So we want to try to up that number. And then we want to provide more public swim. That's one of the big things we heard last year, not only from parents. When I walk around there just as a guy in khakis and a polo and start talking to parents and stuff, and ask them how things are going. What do they want to see more? What do they want to see differently? They want to see more public swim time on weekends. Well, so do we. We just need the guards and the staff to do it. So I know you guys had mentioned before, if you guys know anybody that wants to work next summer, we'll interview them now, so they know they have a job for that. But we just want them to do that. The schedule to your right over here is kind of what I talked about last year and in June. This is the ultimate goal. This is what we want to get to, or a variation of this. We want to offer a balance between public swim as well as swim lessons, because there's a lot of open canals still around here. So we want to make sure kids are swimming and learn to swim. And that's what Ward really wants us to do, is to help teach kids how to swim. So there's that. What to expect for 2024. The de-winterization starts in April. So we start that process in April, take the cover off, the pool's green, we scrub it, put chemical in it, do everything we need to do there, backwash things, get it done. The swim team tryouts begin May 4th. And I should say that the pool is heated. I think you guys all know that, but it's still a little chilly there in May, but the pool gets it up and going. And we run the pool all the way from May 4th in theory with the tryouts of the swim teams all the way through the end of October with high school swim teams. So it goes quite far. Opening day will be June 3rd. We have tentatively scheduled swim team or swim lesson sessions beginning June 3rd. The day we open, we start the swim lessons. It's that quick. We would like to try to open Memorial Day weekend, but it's all based on how many staff we have available that are available to work. So if we can, we would like to open a little earlier, just for you guys' thought. And once we know an opening date, we'll obviously advertise that. And then we want more swim meets with the Killer Whales, Streamliners, high schools, those types of things, as long as they fit in line with our swim sessions, to where we're not canceling a bunch of swim lessons, this and that. It works good. We've already been working with, Willow has already been working with all the, at least with the Killer Whales, to get their swim meet dates locked in now, prices locked in now, so they can start budgeting, knowing what they're doing and knowing what they're scheduled. So last year, the schedules just didn't work out, where they couldn't host them here. They didn't have to host them in Boise. Well, we want them to be here. We want them to be a home here in a lot of the Killer Whales kids are our lifeguards. So we want them to have a home and take some pride in the Meridian pool and be at home. Projects that we're doing right now, the front railing of the pool, it's all rusted and corroded at the bottom of it. So we're getting that replaced and repaired. Some of the chemical lines you can see over here on the right, the bigger picture here on the top right, that's a picture of the big new UV system there. But you can see some of those white tubes going, everything. Those all feed into the chemical room, and they're just a hard plastics. Every couple of years, you need to replace them. So those are the things we want to do this year. It's just that time to replace those. The sand filters, we need to replace the sand inside the sand filters every 5 to 7 years. Well, they're due, so we're doing that this winter as well. Those are good winter projects because they're indoor in a heated room, right? So doing that. This spring, before the pool opens, I want to do a couple concrete repairs. With that, we have some drain caps that need to be fixed and repaired, some cracks in the concrete we need to get done, so we want to get that done. And the 3-meter dive, or the high dive, there's a 1 meter, the little one, 3 meter, big one. We want to do some research on that. And in particular, the diving well, when you dive in, where the pool kind of ramps up, make sure that's deep enough for the current standards of a high dive or a 3-meter dive. So we're working on that stuff right now with that. So with that, I'll stand for questions. That's not me. That's just That's Steve with the beard.
Thank you. Thank you, Garrett. I mean, yeah, I know, yeah, 6 months ago, well, 6, 7 months ago, 8 months, talking about worried about getting enough lifeguards, man, I'm happy that worked out.
Yeah.
And of course, I think we will all say, yes, tell Willow she's awesome, right? I mean, she should be here so we can all thank her, but I know it's,
Just had our annual review and
You
I
know.
retired in 16 years. So I told her she can't go there
You
for
know.
17. So.
yeah, it's just
Good.
pretty amazing. Yeah, how much you guys do. Any questions, Commission?
I got a question.
Okay.
The number of activity you get on a daily basis during when it's open, the screen went kind of fast.
Oh, you want to go back to it?
Just kind of curious. Plus, where'd they get the name Killer Whales?
Great question. They've always been called the killer whales for as far as I know. So that could have been, I have no idea how old they are.
Just curious. So, yeah, it's the only thing I lettered in was swimming. So I kind of
Okay.
some of that. So, okay,
Right on.
thank you.
So the schedule here on the right, that's our goal. Right now, we did like last year, just to go through it, based on the guards we had swim teams from 5:30 to 9, swim lessons from 9 to 1. We do our maintenance because of the bathing load that's happening in the morning. We check chemical, we clean up the deck, get it ready for public swim. Give the guards that are working a full shift, give them a quick break, get out of the sun, get something to drink, get something to eat type of thing for lunch. And then public swim was from 1:30 to 4:30. Then we have a quick maintenance thing right before the little kiddos get back in the pool. We want to make sure chemicals are still good. So we allow about a 15-minute chemical check, clean a deck, let the people come in for public swim. And then we did, or not public swim, sorry, for swim lessons again. And then we were done at the end of the night after that last swim lesson. We did not have an evening public swim from 7:30 to 9:30. We want that, but we weren't able to have it last year based on hours available. And then on Saturdays, we were open from like 12 to 4 last year, just
So
on
is there a
Saturdays and closed
participation
Sundays.
Count on that for the year?
I'm sorry?
How many people actually went swimming or came into the pool area?
Daily,
Just kind of curious if you had that count.
public swim, we average probably about 180 per public swim a day. When you talk about the whole facility and all those kiddos that come in and out of there, a couple hundred, just in swim lessons alone. Yeah. Good question. Thanks.
A couple questions. First one's an odd one. I noticed you said that, is it Meridian and Oahe high schools? Do the other high schools in Meridian have swim teams?
They do.
Like
So
the YMCA or something, or?
they've been using the YMCA last year. So Meridian or Mountain View had always used this pool as
Oh,
well.
okay.
Um,
Now they have the big,
we would like to have them
UI, right?
back. Yeah, we're just trying to get space in the pool. So last year, Oahe used it mainly for their meets. But Meridian High School used it for all their practices and meets. So then the other two youth club ones, with the Killer Whales and Streamliners used it. But yeah, we would like to get the high schools back using it the best we can. I know that they do use a lot of the South YMCA out there, but yeah, I did talk with Mountain View and
I was just curious.
if we can get them in here. Great. Yeah, it's a good question.
Then what was the other question? Shoot.
The question while you're thinking.
Go ahead. Yes.
Mr. President. The high dive issue, is there a safety concern there, or what's the point? Why are you looking into the research of the high dive?
Yes, a little bit. We're trying to find out if it is a safety issue, right? So the diving well in particular may or may not be too shallow where it starts to ramp up. We're looking into it. Once we know more, we'll either know if we need to make it a platform or a springboard. Springboard right now is on it and it gives it spring. So if we can make it a platform where it stays, if it's a little short, the diving well is a little short, we can just make it a platform so it doesn't give you spring, but you can jump off of it still, type of thing. So we're looking into those types of things. And that's based on the remodel information we got when Ward was doing it in 2017. So we're just confirming what needs to be there. Diving boards are dangerous, so we just want to make sure we're all good and covering our bases. No.
Question. I remembered. We love to talk about parking. So on a Saturday in the summer, between the pool and baseball and the dog park and the racetrack, do we have parking issues? Because I forget sometimes at about 3 or 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon to take my dogs to the dog park on a Saturday. And I get over there and go, nope, I'm going home. This is literally.
Yeah, the
you
parking
have
is
to park
tight.
at the state police. You know, so I'm
Parking
curious.
is tight. I haven't heard many come to me and say, hey, you need to put more parking here. Story Park's ridiculous type of thing. Parking is tight. I do know that when the raceway is going, that they do have that overflow parking lot, just right there off of Franklin, right? In the baseball field, but
Yeah, and I would say you were only open till 4 this summer. Well, that might mitigate that between night race. I mean, people are there maybe setting up, but the actual crowds probably don't show up till later. But if you're open till 6,
maybe
I would be willing to say that you're gonna might start ridden into that where those evening races on a Saturday. I mean, I assume people park at the swimming pool.
oh, I'm sure.
Because I know when I've driven past there, I mean, everything is filled up when there's races. So,
During dairy days is even.
and then,
busier.
yeah, so, anyway, just.
It's interesting in regarding to parking, we have found just at the pool over the past 2 years, the typical time that somebody spends or a family spends at the pool is about 90 minutes. They're there, they hang out, they do their thing, and they're gone after about 90 minutes. So parking lot's kind of empty and it kind of gets slower, then it picks up and gets slower again type of thing. So every, hour to 90 minute, hour and a half, I mean, people are coming in and out type of thing. So I don't know if that helps with parking.
Probably, yeah, because there's
Yeah.
turnover, right?
That's just what we've been noticing at ours, just me being present on site.
Okay. Any other?
Mr. President,
Yes,
so it
Commissioner.
sounds like you could have something online that shows like busy times of day for some of these, like for the pool.
Yeah, we probably could. We'd have to probably do a little bit more research
Just-
other than
just
just
because
me
you don't
going
have
off
anything
top of
else
my
to
head,
do.
but right. Yeah, tell
Just
Will, you gotta
thinking,
time
know,
this.
like,
you know.
there are different places where it will show you like if it's busy or not, or if it's a busier time to go. I don't know. Might just help
Wow.
spread it out.
Any
you-
questions? Well. I could always go to Discovery Park. Like drive another 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes down there if I really needed to. All right, awesome.
Thank you
Oh,
guys.
great job. Pool's looking great. Thank you. All right, well, there's no workshop this evening, so we will move on to staff reports from the Parks and Rec staff. Whatever order you guys want to go in, Steve.
Go first. Thank you.
All right.
Well, tonight was all about partnerships, and we work a lot on partnerships in what we do. I want to take just a second though and just talk about the parking theme that they both deal with, and we do too. But what I wanted to point out is that I really appreciate that both Ryan and Brian care. And they've been really good partners with us on this issue. It doesn't mean it's gone away, but their communication out to the community and to involve people who want to know what's going on in their emails so they can say, hey, we are messaging this, we are putting up signs, we do care about this issue. It's helped immensely. It hasn't, made it completely go away as you heard tonight, but I just really, really appreciate their attention to that. So wanted to mention that. A lot of, well, I hope that you enjoyed hearing about some of our key partnerships tonight. These are some of them, and they've been really good partners. The construction of the improvements at Heroes Park that we did with PAL, we did agreements that they needed to be paid off by a certain date. They beat that, completely paid it off. We're able to move into the parking and do that one. Working with ideas with MYB, not sure what what the next parking solution, because we don't own the land where the temporary parking is, that PAL also helped us fund for that one. But we're working on ideas and solutions all the time. So anyway, I think enough on that, but I just wanted to acknowledge that. A lot of what I'm working on isn't, very glamorous, but it's the staffing side of things, the budgeting side of things, working on staffing budgets, working on hiring processes. We have a meeting tomorrow with HR, always looking at ways to improve our hiring, especially our seasonal hiring processes, streamline those. I got a real big focus right now on marketing with Shelley, and looking at all of our processes and the venues we look at. If anyone's got some great new awesome marketing technology that is out there that we ought to be focused on, let me know. But I'm meeting with all of Garrett's rec staff and gathering information on wish lists and desires, and it's already way bigger than we'll ever do. But then to prioritize that, and what do we have the capacity to do? What do we need training on? Anyway, that's some of what I'm working on right now. And then I just want to mention this, and I'll pass it off to Mike, but I'm so excited to have Discovery Park Phase 2 open. So that's been a big deal, and some amazing amenities, and being out there for the ribbon cutting a couple Fridays ago. The weather cooperated, and that was a wonderful event. And I just wanted to say that, I'm really proud of what we're doing out there and the great amenities that we've got going on. And with that, I'll transition that over to Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I just want to say that one of the best services that these guys provide is something that we don't have to do. And that is, a lot of park and rec agencies run youth sports programs. So us as a staff, we would have more people, paid staff. We would deal with parents, coaches, parking issues. It's a huge load that we don't have to do. And I mean, it's just, and it's all volunteer based, or most of it is. And it would be a huge lift for us to take on those programs. If these guys didn't give their time and generate the excitement that they do to get people to come along with them and volunteer the way they do. So really awesome. So other stuff, council approved using some unspent contingency tonight on lighting the pickleball courts at Discovery Park. So we're going to add lighting to the tennis courts and the pickleball courts. We've got the golf course. We put the golf course back together. Now we got all torn. It's all torn up again on the building. The roof is getting replaced and painting, and we're going to move inside and tear the whole inside apart. So got that going.
Thank you, Mike.
Over to me, go around here. Been a lot of pool stuff, pool projects, CFP projects. I'm reviewing all of our department fees. We would try to review them at least once, sometimes twice a year, just to make sure we're still covering our costs on things as things change and as we adapt throughout the year. I've actually had to write a couple director's orders for Steve this last week and a half, just lots of back and forth and regarding that. One of the director's orders entails, there's a group called Youth Life Ministries, I believe it was. I should know, I wrote been working with them. They're lighting up the Tully Park Skate Park on Thursday nights through the winter. And the month of November is just a trial period, just to kind of keep some activity at, if people like to use a skate park, what do they do in the winter, right? It's dark. Sometimes there's weather related stuff, but this group wanted to come and light it up on Thursday nights out there from like 6 to 8 o'clock p.m. Just for youth, and see how it goes. It's a trial period in November. If it works well, then it'll go through the winter. So did that. And there's hot air balloon launches at J-Bill over there next to the freeway and the Renaissance High School. That field we call J-Bill Field, soccer fields. There'll be a couple balloon launches out there, hot air balloon launches. And then this Saturday, there'll be a hot air balloon launch prior to the golf tournament at the golf course. So all those included director's orders. So we got all those drafted and Steve's approval and got it all lined out, ready to go. Been doing a lot of staff job descriptions, reviewing those every year during their annual reviews, review them and make any changes as necessary. So been working a lot with that. And then the church, Research Church, is moving out at the end of February of the home court facility at Bay 6, sorry. So we're looking at putting together some kind of a small budget for a TI project. And then once we get that budget number put together, it'll be a pretty mellow TI, and talking flooring, maybe some paint, a couple FF&E stuff. But and then hopefully if mayor and council will approve that, we may be doing a project with that. In regards to all the coordinators, the sports coordinators today, Maggie, today was the last day to register for volleyball and basketball. We have 46 adult basketball teams with a waiting list, and we have 142 volleyball teams with a waiting list. So we need more gym space is what it sounds like. So we've been scheming on how to make certain gyms double into 2, but keeping the quality, right? Steve used to preach to me always, quality over quantity. And we've got the quantity and we keep the quality. It's just, we don't like turning people away. We don't like saying no when you can provide programs for people. So kudos to Maggie and her team that keeps track of all those teams. That's 188 teams. She'll be keeping track between volleyball and basketball just herself over the next couple months. So she also just finished last Saturday the Holiday Classic Volleyball Tournaments, that charitable volleyball tournament. We buy Christmas gifts for the Head Start program right down the road here. She had 35 teams in that, and she's going to provide gifts this Christmas for about 40, a little over 40 kids at the Head Start program. So again, that's all Maggie doing her stuff. Events, it's all Christmas parade and Wonderland Festival. So Renee is hot and heavy with the logistics of that going on. Classes and camps, it's all activity guide stuff and instructor contracts. Arts and culture, it's got a couple new artists. If you guys have time and you're at City Hall before it closes, on the 3rd floor, there is a gallery up there, Initial Point Gallery. There's a new gallery viewing up there now. She got the public art at Discovery Park going on, ornament drop logistics, and then she's got some HPC, Historic Preservation Commission projects going on as well. You just heard from me at the pool in Willow, but she's working with some teams in AEDs and CPR trainings and pool closures and winterizations and those types of things. And then home court is all pickleball right now with the weather being cold in the mornings. It's Jake says they're knocking down the door in the morning before they open, ready to get in because they want to start playing pickleball early in the morning. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, got a bunch of adult basketball and noon ball. That's what we had up in there. And then in the evenings, it's some organized club sports that are practicing. And then about 7:30 on, it's open to the public. So it's busy. You'd think winter might slow down a little bit, but it hasn't. It just keeps picking up.
All right. Thank you, Garrett. Before we move on, I'm sorry, any questions for Garrett from the commission? I also failed to ask, were there any questions for Steve or Mike? But I just sort of moved on and didn't ask if anybody had questions. I just want to make a comment. 80 total volleyball teams?
142 volleyball and then 46 basketball.
So I just want to kind of, as awesome as you guys do, you had 70 baseball teams. They've got twice. And so, I mean, that put it in perspective about the coordination of what you guys feel, and the hundreds of teams, I guess, with 4,000 kids. That's, I mean,
Maggie gets paid.
That's for, I mean, the basketball and volleyball, and it's like the amount of coordination these guys do. I mean, it really is. Wow. Anyway, yeah. And court space. I don't know how we do it.
Mr. President?
Yes, go ahead.
I did want to follow up with what Steve had to say. It was awesome to have partnerships like represented in a meeting because I don't know that we've done that before. I don't recall. So there hasn't been an opportunity to give kudos or, it is important that with the parking, like how hard you guys are working with the people who live next door, because I had a friend who lived in Lockslaw Falls who was my assistant coach. And so we had a lot of discussion. No, she didn't, but she was pretty fired up about it. But the parking lot also, I don't know if it changed the way the configuration, but it was pretty horrible when it was the 40.
Configuration on the main parking lot is still the same.
Stay the same.
It's still kind of awkward.
So you can park like maybe a little smart car.
Yeah.
the time I had to check. But I think that even though I don't live there, it's appreciated because I do live in Meridian, and I do know that I live near a church, and so there's a lot of parking issues with that and traffic. So you run into it, and when you feel like people are paying attention, which now they have people directing traffic and signs up, and so it feels like, I don't know, they at least care about people living there. It's respectful, so it's appreciated. And it was awesome to hear about, teams and what everyone is doing. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So I was looking back at the 2023 all commission goals. So are they doing the playground equipment at Tully Park right now?
Yes, the Tully Park playground equipment is underway. They started the removal last week. And I don't know, do you want to say more? Go ahead.
They're, so the old playground's out, all the bark's out. It's a big mud pit. We've had a lot of rain lately, but they're slogging through it. They've got part of it assembled, and they're going to take Thanksgiving week off and then come back and finish right afterwards.
And do they use the old equipment and give it to somebody for use?
We bundle it up, and we have an agreement with an organization called Kids Around the World that comes and picks it up from us. And they take it and they have volunteer groups go reassemble it in a developing country somewhere. So we did the same thing with the Chateau Playground last year and Bear Creek Playground.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to ask him to say, what do we do with the old playground equipment? And you asked the question, so it's pretty awesome program. Yeah. Anything else?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Question for Garrett. You said there was hot air balloon launches by Renaissance.
Yes. So every once in a while, a gentleman by the name of Greg Ashton will request or reserve the park and want to launch his hot air balloon. He does it probably 3, 4, maybe even sometimes 5 times a year. So what we do is just get a director's order that kind of blankets the year. So when he wants to, or the weather's right, the wind's right, all the above, he will reserve a field in the morning and set up and takes off. Yeah, it doesn't happen like regularly. So
cool. Any other question?
Actually, I do have one more question.
Commissioner Dennison.
Okay, when on the goals again, it says engage other task force commissions, entities, agencies. Is that like Meridian Library, West Ada School District, any of those entities then?
Any of those. And we do have fairly regular updates from those. If there's a particular one you'd like to hear from, you can let us know. This year, I'm trying to remember, we've heard from Ada County Parks and Waterways. We've had Eagle Pathways coordinator come and talk about connectivity. Can you think of any other specifically? Anyway, but we do invite partner organizations like that, depending on what the topic is that we want to follow up on. So yes, and if there's one you'd like to hear from, let us know.
Okay, and then also since the community center is going to be torn down or removed this year, is that correct?
That was the original plan. During the council meeting right before this one, there was just an update that the River Caddis group that was going to do that has backed out. So that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Okay. And my idea was thinking that you have in the activity, you have things that are happening in the community center. They're using it, and where would those activities go?
We will continue to have the community center for now. But if it does, if another partner comes up to redevelop that block, we are working on the TI that Garrett mentioned, tenant improvement over at the home court, to help take some of that. We've moved some into Bay 5 of the home court. We've moved some into the second floor of the pool, and we just might be short for a little while until we build the new community center. That's also a possible reality.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay, now we'll move on to Warren. Thank you.
You, Mr. President, Commissioners. There's quite a bit going on with pathways after a couple of years of just sort of sowing seeds. It seems like a lot are kind of coming together in relatively quick succession. The Golden Spike, as we're calling it, between 10 Mile and Black Cat, that one is just done and waiting for a bridge. And the bridge is about another 3 weeks out. I heard, I was bugging the contractor, so it's a little slower than we were hoping. But we probably will do a grand opening for that stretch in the spring anyway. So we'll be glad to get it when it lands. The 5 Mile Creek Trail Hub, we're working on an entry sign with a sign design company and also the artist who did the new art piece at the Trail Hub. So we're going to use some of her mosaic work with the sign, excuse me, that will identify the Trail Hub and have an address and maybe a logo and the usual things. So I think that'll be a nice integration. That's in progress and it'll be fabricated this winter. The Locust Grove pathway from McMillan to Chinden, there's several segments across several neighborhoods and properties, and it's really moving along, the sidewalk widening. So we have, I would say, over 50% done. We've got the newly poured part kind of wrapped up in a blanket for the evening. So it'll stay warm. When I was out there earlier, you know, our contractors, able to, in non-ideal temperatures, pour concrete. So that was interesting to see. And then Rail with Trail, just to the west of us here, this is a project that we've really been trying to get off the ground for a while. We have a local services agreement. We're just kind of waiting for the state to sign and return it. Got a consultant set to do a little bit more work with the Head Start facility and people to finally, we hope, get that land trade in place so that we have a complete right of way. And we'll get some other things going along with starting that effort, just because it can be kind of a process with state historical preservation and some environmental kinds of analysis. So we'll get that going, and provided the land trade can happen as expected, we'll keep going. If not, we'll talk. So we are going to apply for some additional funding to construct that when we met with LTAC, which is the state organization that administers the federal funding. They recommended that we ask for some more money. It's been a long time since the original ask, and we've increased the funds, but per their assessment, not enough. So I'll be submitting an application to get some additional funding that will cover the rest of the construction. And then drafting an RFQ for a pathways master plan update. So we met on that, and I have something in the works. So we will advertise, get a planning firm on board here in the next couple of months. And then also plan review is busy. I think people are submitting projects with the idea that it takes a few months to get approved and lined out and ready to go for construction season. So that's picked up a little bit too. So plenty going on. That's all I have. I'll stand for questions. Or I'll sit for questions.
All right, thank you. You say it sounds like things are picking up, but you always sound really busy. For the last 4 or 5 years I've been here, it's like you always have a lot going on. So for what it's worth,
Yeah, thanks. No, I do, but probably no more than anyone else in the department.
Yeah. Cool.
It's fun, satisfying work.
Any questions from the commission? Comments? Yes, Commissioner.
Do we have a name yet, Kim, for the 5 Mile Trailhead area that's off 10 Mile?
Oh, we are working with, it was a hard one because it was long. And so I think we're going with 5 Mile Creek Trail Hub on the sign. 5 Mile is one word per the historical documents. And we're going to emphasize Trail Hub. We debated just calling it the Trail Hub, but the 5 Mile Creek is a fairly big identity piece. So we're going with 5 Mile Creek
It's a
Trailhead.
5 mile trail club, 10 mile.
Yeah, except we're leaving 10 Mile off the sign just because that 5 and dime kind of thing got a little confusing. So hopefully that got it down to what we felt was a manageable wording for the sign. And again, Trailhead's going to be big, and then 5 Mile Creek will be there. So yeah, we debated other things, and in the end just kind of went with something pretty straightforward. But we'll bring we can give you a glimpse of the sign concepts too when we get a little further along.
Questions, comments? All right. Thank you, Kim. Great job, as always. You know, I make a comment about parking. You know, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, you can do what you can, and people sometimes just have to be nice, you know? Unfortunately, my next door neighbors was a very elderly couple, and he had a heart attack a few years ago and isn't very able to mobile. But unfortunately, the wife passed away a couple weeks ago, somewhat suddenly, and they're moving him into a assisted care facility. And we met the kids and stuff, and we were friendly with them, and our neighbors helped mow the grass and that. Long story short, they had an estate sale Saturday. So in front of my house was just packed with cars all day, and people parked in front of my driveway. And my son left to go try to get back out of the driveway to go to work, and he could swerve around enough. But you know, it's just like, yeah, people they're just going to do what they're going to do. And sometimes, no matter how hard we try to deal with parking there, people are just going to, well, I'm only going to be here for a couple minutes, right? Which in this case was probably true. But when they're going to be there for a game and they're going to be there for an hour and a half, it's like, come on. So, you know, we all just have to be patient and understand that. I don't know. It's just something I was thinking. Anyway, thanks everybody. Again, you guys, thanks for your presentations and the great work you guys do for our community. And of course, park staff is awesome. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, can I have a motion for adjourn? Oh, next meeting is December 13th, 2023, 5:30 p.m. here in the chambers. And it'll please be here. It's an important meeting because we'll have elections and the goals for next year. So important meeting. So I'll try to be here. Anyway, now can I have a motion for adjournment?
Mr. President,
Commissioner Gelsomino.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned.